In this video, we're going to talk about how to hire an executive assistant. And the first question to start with is, why do you even need one in the first place? And really, the main reason is that so that you can focus on work that only you can do. The strategic stuff, the decisions, the relationships, the things that are truly your job as the CEO. And so that you're less stressed doing it because you're not relying on your own brain to hold and manage everything else on top of that. So, a helpful way to think about this is to look at your work in three categories. Category 1 is the work that only you can do. And you probably already feel the difference on days when you get to do this work. It feels different. It feels like the reason why you started all of this in the first place. Then there's category 2, which is work you're probably doing right now, but honestly doesn't need you. And this one might surprise you because some of it feels important and urgent, but it's not yours to carry. And then category 3, and this one is probably the most painful because it's the stuff that's eating up your time and your mental bandwidth. And deep down, you know that this shouldn't even be on your plate, but it keeps ending up there anyway. And we're gonna go through all three in detail because once you see clearly which bucket your tasks fall into, what to hire for, and how to hire becomes more obvious. So in this video, we're going to walk through 5 steps to hiring an EA the right way. Starting with what to do before you even post a job, all the way to what your onboarding needs to look like so that your EA can run things without you, without having to be in every decision. This is the framework I use with my own team and with the clients I work with. So let's get into it. Now, if I was a CEO hiring an assistant today, here's the very first thing I would do. I will audit my time. Alex Hormozi talked about creating a spreadsheet with 15-minute increments and tracking everything he does for 1 full week. And I know that sounds tedious, but it's really, really helpful. Because here's the thing. If you don't know what's eating up your time, you won't know what to delegate effectively. So what ends up happening is you hire someone and then you find yourself creating work for them because you never identified what's truly eating up your mental bandwidth. I've seen this happen. There was one CEO who trialed our services and he told me he felt like he was creating work for his assistant. He didn't feel like he was truly leveraging the support he had. And the reason was simple. He never audited his time before we ever started. So he didn't know where to begin. So before you post a job, before you interview someone, sit down and track your week, especially those things that can be done virtually. And ask yourself honestly, is this the best use of my time as the CEO? If the answer is no, then ask yourself, who's the best person who can take those off your plate? Is it a chief of staff? Is it an executive assistant? Is it another leadership person? Is it a COO? Or is it someone else? Step number 2, hire for ownership, not just for tasks. This is probably the biggest mistake I see, and it's an easy one to make. What usually happens is a founder writes a job post. That's basically a list of tasks. Answer emails, manage calendar, book travel. And then they hire someone who's good at following instructions and wonder why they're still getting pulled into everything. The difference between a good EA and a great EA is not the task list, it's ownership. Let me give you a real example. Before working together with one founder, he had tried everything, AI assistant tools, and managing it all by himself. And he kept feeling like he was dropping the ball and letting people down. Those are his exact words. What changed when we started working together is that we were owning outcomes. So for example, when he decided to move to another country while running his business, we handled the coordination of his visa paperwork, the logistics of his art collection and personal items, the car lease transfer, listing his apartment online, and helping coordinate the paperwork for his 2 dogs for an international flight. All of it remotely. He was focused on leading his business. Everything else was handled in the back end. When I asked him what the best thing was about working together, he said, peace of mind. That's the best thing. Peace of mind. So that's what you're hiring for. Someone who owns things until they are truly done. Step number 3, Give them real trial tasks. A lot of people skip this step entirely, or they give something so generic it doesn't tell them anything useful. Here's what I do when hiring. I give candidates real scenario, something close to what they will face. And what I was paying attention to wasn't just whether they got the answer right. I was also watching for their timeliness and their communication style. Did they ask questions that showed they truly understood the root of the issue, not just the surface request? Did they think about the context? Or did they just fill in a template and send it back? Because here's what's going to happen when an EA is working with you day to day. Things are going to come in without clear answer. Situations that require good judgment. And what you need to know before you hire them is this. When they hit that moment, do they come back to you with a question? Or do they come back to you with a recommendation? Because the EA who always come back with a question will always pull you back in. And at that point, you're basically still doing the thinking yourself, just with an extra step. So run a real test. Watch how they think. That will honestly tell you more than any interview ever will. Step number 4, ask them situational questions during their interview. When you're hiring an executive assistant, don't just ask about their experience. Ask situational questions that will reveal how they think under pressure. Questions like, tell me about a time when you solve a problem using a different approach. Or, have you ever been blindsided by a problem you didn't foresee? What happened? These questions matter because great EAs aren't just task doers. They are problem solvers. You want someone resourceful, adaptable, can anticipate needs, and calm when things don't go according to plan. Because eventually, they won't. Step number 5, actually invest in the onboarding. Now, this last one is really, really important. And it's where I see most EA relationship break down. Not in the hiring, but in what happens in the first 30 days. You bring someone in, you throw tasks at them, and you assume they'll figure out your world, but they won't. Not without context. Not without understanding how you think, what matters to you, what good looks like in your eyes. So here's what a strong onboarding looks like. First, have a proper kickoff call. Walk them through your top priorities, your communication style, your working preference, and what your ideal week looks like. What can they handle without asking you? What do you always want to know about right away? Give them visibility early. Let them see your calendar, your inbox, how decisions get made before they start managing any of it. Give them time to learn your world first. Then set up a weekly alignment. It doesn't have to be long. When one of our EAs and her executive couldn't meet, she started sending him 3 questions every Monday. What are your top 3 priorities this week? Is there anything I can take off your plate or keep an eye out for you? Number 3, what upcoming meetings or decisions need prep? That became the anchor of his entire week. And it meant she was never guessing what mattered most to him right now. And this one is something I tell every single person on my team. Proactive communication is non-negotiable. No CEO is logging on project management tool to check on your tasks. They go to the simplest and quickest channel they have, Slack, WhatsApp, whatever it is. And so if your EA is updating their tasks somewhere, but is never closing the loop with you directly, you are going to feel like nothing is moving, even if everything is. Closing the loop may seem small, but clients and executives really appreciate it because it tells them things are moving on the background even when they're not looking. And that's the whole point. That's what it means to truly support an executive. So to bring it all together, the reason why you're still in your inbox, managing your own calendar, still doing things that doesn't need to be on your plate, is because nobody walked you through how to set up your EA for success. Audit your time first. Hire for ownership. Give them a real test. Ask them situational questions. And invest in the onboarding. Do all those 5 things, and within 90 days, you're going to notice the difference. You're going to have more space for the work that needs you. And you're going to be able to step back and trust that things are getting done without you watching. Our client went from always feeling like he was dropping the ball to saying his bandwidth has expanded and he was sleeping better. And a client who has been working with us for almost a decade started with just inbox and calendar support back in 2017 and grew from 5 to 50 employees across 14 countries. If this was helpful, go ahead and subscribe because every week I share what I've learned after 13 years of being in this industry so you can stop being the bottleneck in your business. And if you want to talk about what this could look like for you, the link is in the description. I'll see you on the next one.